Welcome back to Stamps Old World UK, the channel where we explore the fascinating world of vintage and rare stamps, uncovering their history, significance, and market value in today's world. Today we are focusing on a true classic in the history of American stamps, the 1902 series United States 1-cent Benjamin Franklin postage stamp. This beautiful green stamp features the portrait of Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States, and is a beloved collectible among philatelists worldwide. With its ornate design, intricate engraving, and historic importance, this stamp holds a special place in both the history of postal services and the hearts of collectors. The 1902 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp was issued during a time when the U.S. postal system was rapidly expanding, and postage stamps were not just a necessity for mailing letters, but also a reflection of national pride. Designed and printed by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, the stamp depicts Franklin's image in a finely detailed frame surrounded by ornamental designs, cherubs, and scrollwork. Franklin's inclusion on the stamp is no coincidence. As the first Postmaster General of the United States, he played a major role in shaping the nation's postal service. The engraving work on the stamp is highly detailed, with precise lines that make it a work of art in miniature form. Its vivid green ink and well-proportioned design make it instantly recognizable among collectors. Over the years, the value of this stamp has varied significantly, based on factors such as condition, centering, gum presence, and whether it has been postmarked or remains unused. Mint condition examples, especially those with perfectly centered perforations and original gum, can command impressive prices in today's philatelic market. Used stamps, while more common, can still be valuable if they are in excellent condition with a light and well-placed cancellation mark that does not obscure the central portrait. Collectors also value examples with rare printing variations, color shifts, or production flaws, which can make a single stamp much more desirable and therefore more expensive. When it comes to the market value today, a typical used example of the 1902 1-cent Franklin stamp in average condition may be worth between $1 and $5. However, mint condition specimens, especially those in extremely fine or superb grade, can command sale for anywhere from $20 to over $100 depending on centering and preservation quality. Exceptional examples with a high professional grading score or rare varieties can even reach prices well into the hundreds of dollars at specialized auctions. The key to determining value lies in examining its condition closely. Well-centered stamps with clean perforations, bright color, and minimal wear are always in higher demand. For collectors, owning such a stamp is not just about its price, but about the satisfaction of having a historically important and beautifully designed artifact in their collection. In the current stamp collecting market, there has been renewed interest in early 20th century U.S. stamps, like this one, partly due to their artistic engravings and partly because they represent an important era in postal history. As more collectors and investors look for tangible assets with historic value, high-quality stamps from this period are seeing steady demand. Auction houses and online marketplaces such as eBay and Hipstamp frequently feature this Franklin issue, and bidding activity shows that it remains a favorite among both beginner and advanced philatelists. The charm of the 1902 1-cent Franklin is that it is accessible enough for new collectors to acquire, yet has rarer varieties and conditions that make it exciting for experienced enthusiasts as well. If you are considering selling such a stamp today, it is advisable to first have it evaluated by a professional stamp dealer or grading service to determine its exact condition and authenticity. If it is a particularly high-grade example, selling through a reputable auction house could maximize your return. Conversely, if you are looking to buy one, always check for authenticity and be cautious of reproductions, as older U.S. stamps have been widely reprinted for educational or decorative purposes, which can sometimes confuse new collectors. Next up, the most recognized and beloved classic United States stamps, the 1-cent Benjamin Franklin. A piece that carries not just a small monetary value printed in its corner, but a huge amount of history and significance. This stamp, with its elegant blue color and fine engraving, is a timeless symbol of American philately. For collectors, it represents the early development of the U.S. postal system, the artistry of engraved printing, and the legacy of one of America's most influential figures.
Whether you are an experienced stamp collector or someone who has just discovered this little piece of history, you will quickly understand why it has remained a favorite for over a century. The 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp was part of a long-running tradition of honoring Franklin, who holds the title of being the first Postmaster General of the United States. His role in shaping the early postal service was vital in connecting the new nation's towns and cities, enabling faster communication at a time when such connections were essential for growth and unity. The design of this stamp is simple yet striking, featuring Franklin's profile framed in an oval border, with the denomination 1 cent proudly displayed at the bottom. The deep blue ink gives it a classic and dignified appearance, and the quality of the engraving reflects the exceptional craftsmanship of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Every curve, line, and detail in the portrait has been carefully crafted to bring Franklin's image to life on such a tiny canvas. Over the decades, this 1-cent Franklin stamp has been issued in multiple designs and variations, and that is part of what makes it such an intriguing collectible. Differences in printing plates, shades of ink, paper type, and even perforation styles have created a fascinating array of varieties that collectors love to hunt for. Some versions are relatively common and easy to find, while others are scarce and can be worth a considerable amount of money. The value of any specific 1-cent Franklin depends greatly on its condition. Factors such as centering, gum condition for unused stamps, clarity of postmarks for used stamps, and any signs of damage or wear play a big role in determining its market price. Well-centered stamps with sharp impressions and intact perforations are always in higher demand. In today's stamp market, a common used 1-cent Franklin in average condition may be valued between $1 and $5. However, examples in excellent condition, especially those with light, neat cancellations, can fetch higher prices, often in the $10 to $20 range. Mint condition stamps, particularly those with perfect centering and original gum, can sell for $50 or more, and rare variations or professionally graded superb examples can reach several $100s at specialized auctions. In some exceptional cases, rare printing varieties such as unusual shades, double impressions, or perforation errors can bring in prices far beyond standard catalog values. This is where philately becomes truly exciting, as a seemingly ordinary stamp can turn out to be a rare gem. Collectors today appreciate this Franklin stamp not just for its value, but for its history. It represents a time when stamps were engraved by master craftsmen, producing miniature works of art that were both functional and beautiful. The choice of Benjamin Franklin's image was also symbolic, honoring his contributions not only to the postal service, but to American society as an inventor, diplomat, writer, and statesman. Owning this stamp is like holding a small piece of American heritage in your hand, a reminder of the nation's growth and the enduring importance of communication. In the modern philatelic community, stamps like the 1-cent Benjamin Franklin remain popular because they appeal to both beginners and advanced collectors. Beginners find them accessible and affordable, while experienced collectors enjoy the challenge of hunting for rare varieties or the satisfaction of acquiring a superbly preserved example. This combination of beauty, history, and collectability ensures that the stamp's popularity will continue for generations to come. As with all collectibles, the market value can fluctuate over time depending on trends, availability, and collector demand. But stamps with strong historical connections and appealing designs tend to hold their value well. If you happen to own a 1-cent Franklin stamp and want to know its exact worth, it's a good idea to compare it to auction results, check with reputable stamp dealers, or have it professionally appraised. Proper storage is also crucial if you want to preserve its condition. Keep it in a cool, dry place, away from direct sunlight, and use protective stamp mounts or albums to avoid damage. With the right care, this stamp can remain in excellent condition for many more decades.
Next up, the United States 1-cent For Freedom stamp. This green postage stamp, issued in the mid-20th century, is not just a small piece of paper with a monetary value. It is a symbol of the ideals that the United States sought to uphold during one of the most challenging times in modern history. With its simple yet powerful imagery and its connection to a defining moment in the nation's past, this stamp is a treasure worth understanding in depth. The Four Freedoms stamp was issued in 1943 during the height of World War II. Its design was inspired by the famous Four Freedoms speech delivered by President Franklin D. Roosevelt on January 6, 1941. In that speech, Roosevelt outlined four essential human freedoms that everyone in the world ought to enjoy: freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. These words became a rallying cry for the Allied cause and were deeply connected to America's wartime ideals. The stamp's design reflects these values. In the center, we see a stylized depiction of a man holding the torch of liberty, symbolizing enlightenment, hope, and the guiding light of freedom. Around him are olive branches, representing peace, and beneath his image is the powerful inscription: freedom of speech and religion, freedom from want and fear. Every detail in this design was carefully chosen to convey a message of unity and determination. Printed in a rich green color, the 1-cent denomination of this issue was typically used for postcards, local letters, and as additional postage to make up specific mailing rates. Millions of these stamps were printed and circulated, meaning that today they are relatively easy to find in used condition. However, as with all collectible stamps, condition plays a huge role in determining value. A common used example with a clear postmark and no major damage might sell for just a few cents to $1. But mint condition stamps, especially those with bright, fresh color, perfect centering, and intact gum, are more desirable and can fetch prices in the range of $1 to $5. Blocks of 4 in mint condition, first-day covers, and stamps with printing varieties can be worth significantly more. One of the interesting aspects of the Four Freedoms stamp is its historical context. It was issued at a time when the United States was fully engaged in World War II, and stamps like this served as more than just postage. They were a means of spreading messages of patriotism, solidarity, and hope. Each letter sent with this stamp carried with it a subtle reminder of what the war was being fought for. Stamps from this era are often collected not only for their designs, but for their connection to significant historical events, and this one is no exception. Collectors who focus on World War II postal history, U.S. commemoratives, or political themes often include the Four Freedoms stamp as a key piece in their collections. When evaluating the value of this stamp today, collectors also consider special varieties. While the vast majority of these stamps were printed perfectly, some show slight shifts in color, over-inking, or plate flaws. These imperfections, while minor, can add interest and value to certain examples. First-day covers bearing the stamp and a special postmark from its issue date in 1943 can range in value from $5 to $20 depending on the quality and the condition of the envelope. Complete mint sheets of the stamp, especially those still in their original post office packaging, can be worth more to serious collectors. Beyond its monetary value, the 1-cent Four Freedoms stamp holds enduring symbolic value. It is a reminder of a time when the United States was mobilized not only militarily, but also culturally and ideologically, seeking to defend and promote basic human rights around the world. For younger collectors, it's a tangible connection to the era of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the struggles of the 1940s, and the ideals that shaped the post-war world. For older collectors, it can evoke memories of letters sent and received during the war years, when news from loved ones serving overseas was eagerly awaited. In today's philatelic market, stamps like this remain popular for their affordability and accessibility. This makes them excellent starting points for beginners, while still offering depth and variety for advanced collectors. Collectors can seek out perfectly preserved mint singles, blocks, plate number blocks, or even find them on wartime envelopes with interesting postal markings. The fact that this stamp is so closely tied to one of the most famous presidential speeches in U.S. history only adds to its appeal. If you own one of these stamps and wish to keep it in top condition, it is important to store it properly. Use archival quality stamp mounts or albums. Keep them away from direct sunlight to prevent fading, and handle them only with clean hands or stamp tongs to avoid damaging the delicate paper. Even though this stamp is relatively inexpensive in the current market, its historical and symbolic value means it's worth preserving carefully.
In conclusion, the U.S. 1-cent 4-freedom stamp is far more than just a small green square with a torch-bearing figure. It is a miniature monument to the ideals that defined an era, a piece of propaganda that traveled the country and the world, and a reflection of the hopes and determination of a nation at war. While its monetary value in today's market may range from just a few cents for common used copies to several dollars for pristine mint examples, its true worth lies in the story it tells and the ideals it represents. At Stamps Old World UK, we celebrate stamps like this because they are living history, silent witnesses to the events, struggles, and triumphs of the past. Every time we look at this stamp, we are reminded that freedom is precious and worth defending, and that even the smallest piece of paper can carry a message that lasts for generations.